Welcome back to another episode. Grand Boulevard Coalition looks for your support in turning on and tuning in as we launch our 6th annual CAN TV media broadcast. The theme, Most Youth Don't Use. Our focus is implementing educational, prevention, and intervention strategies to reduce underage drinking and substance abuse for teens and overtime adults. This is the reason we host this show. We want to take time to thank all of our sponsors and our partners. Our primary sponsors, Safe and Peaceful Community, Community Trust, Chicago Area Project, SAMHSA, and our sector partners, Institute of Positive Living, Force for Good, For Any One Girl, Black Wall Street Journal, Centers for New Horizon, Haymarket, Otis Monroe Foundation, Vista Project, Bronzeville Community Clubhouse. Our sponsors are important, and we thank you all for supporting our show and supporting our mission. Our collective voice is what helps us to help others. Throughout the show, we want you to know that you can call in. This is a live conversation. We can be reached at 312-738-1060. Call in, give us your questions, give us your feedback, share that hotline link so other folks can watch, but we want you to be a part of this community conversation that we're having today. You can also follow us on Instagram at Grand Boulevard Coalition. Go like our page, check out our website, and find out how you can be more involved with the show on today. Today we have a special guest here in the studio, Raynetta. Raynetta, it is a pleasure to have you with us on today as we engage in more conversations about healthy dialogue, having healthy dialogue, and talking about drug-free communities. So this would be a wonderful opportunity for our callers to get to know you, what some of your aspirations are, what you're currently doing, and to call in, give you that support, and as we give into this conversation. Raynetta is from the Inglewood community, currently studying communications at Kennedy King. She has an Instagram, she has Snapchat, so she'll be sure to throw those out to you so that you can follow her. So Raynetta, how about we get started? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, as you said, my name is Raynetta McLeod. I am a motivation speaker in the making, and I am a communication major at Kennedy King College.
Awesome. What made you take up communications out of all studies, communications?
Well, I want to be a motivational speaker, so I went to school to perfect my speech and to surround myself with like-minded individuals.
That's awesome, Raynetta. Congratulations on your journey, your school journey.
Thank you.
I think that's so incredible. And you're also from the Inglewood community. What's it like being in Inglewood?
Well, it's good. It's good and bad. I like it because I'm used to it, but it's good and it's bad. You take the good with the bad, and it's what you make it.
I hear you. I hear you. So on today, we're going to be talking about some of the stressors that young folks are faced with in their communities, in their personal life, just some things that they are dealing with, because we know that young folks and young adults are dealing with so much on today. Can you identify some of those stressors that you've seen your peers deal with or other young adults?
Some stressors that young people deal with is peer pressure, like not having guidance. It's a lot of stresses. I can name a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think that guidance piece is super important that you mentioned, right? Being able to have mentors, being able to have safe people to go to, or just something to escape whatever those neighborhood traumas may be or whatever those issues that they're facing. And then you also mentioned peer pressure. Did you want to say anything more about that?
Peer pressure is a big one because, like, who you surround yourself with can make you or break you. So if you're not surrounded by the right individuals, how would you know if what you're doing is right or wrong?
Thank you for sharing, yeah. And because of the stressors that young adults are dealing with, folks are trying to cope with it. What have you seen as some of the coping skills that young folks have adapted or took on to deal with some of their behaviors? And do you think that they're risky? Alcohol?
Well,
drugs?
of course, some of the biggest coping mechanisms that young people use is drugs and alcohol because simply that's probably the only way they know how to cope. And yes, that's risky. Of course, drugs and alcohol is bad.
Yeah. Do you have any coping advice that you would give to young people who are down and trying to get through things?
Well, my biggest copingism is God. Anytime I'm going through anything, I pray about it and I hope for the best.
Awesome. So spirituality, I think that that's wonderful that you've been able to adapt it, personalize it, make it you. I think that's phenomenal. What about mentors or any other community initiatives that you've seen young folks go to be able to cope?
Mentors is definitely a big one. I actually have a mentor myself. Her name is Miss K, and I found her at PBMR. She's helped me deal with a lot of things, but biggest of them all is God. But yes, she definitely mentor is a big help.
Awesome. Now, callers and viewers, we want to constantly remind you that you can engage in this conversation with us. You can give us a call at 312-738-1060. We also want to remind you that you are welcome to follow us on Instagram. Check us out, like our page, give us a shout out, find out how you can become more involved with this dialogue on today. So, along with the coping advice that you would give, we've seen social media play a big role, right, in young people acting out in risky behaviors or being able to adopt positive change. How have you seen social media glorify or lift up negative behaviors such as drugs or alcohol?
Well, of course, people get on Instagram and Snapchat and they smoke weed and they sing songs that makes it look cool. So, of course, if it looks cool, everybody want to look cool. That's a part of peer pressure. They doing it, let me do it. But it's not cool. But yes, that definitely take part in a lot of negative things that goes on.
Yeah, that's true, and I agree with that. It is all down the timelines, right? Like, that is what you see on social media. So if we're saying that peer pressure is something that promotes this or makes people want to give into these behaviors, then social media has definitely done its part with causing some of the harm.
Yes.
How do you use your social media? How does that look for you? How are you using it for the good of the community or the good of your personal space?
I use it for the good. I use it to motivate. I'm always putting motivational speeches up. I'm always uplifting, trying to put something up that encourage others because that's what I want to do.
That's awesome. And Renetta, you have a blog.
Yes, I do actually.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about how this blog even came to fruition, your podcast.
Well, I have a podcast. It's on all channels. You can get it on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts. It came about one day I was thinking, like, I have a voice and it needs to be heard because I've realized that I say things that people need to hear. Like, I've realized that when I talk, people listen and they tell me thank you. Like, it's things that I say that they need to hear. So one day I just thought about it like, wow, if people listening to me, how can I really get my voice out there? And I've thought about podcasts. That was a start. So this is just the beginning, actually. You'll be hearing a lot more of me soon.
Yeah. Do you remember what your first podcast was about? Or your most recent one?
My most recent one was about not giving up. And I was talking about like to not give up. Like, it's okay to get tired, but don't give up because we usually get tired. And I was thinking, like, because I get tired of things, but I realized when I'm getting tired, it's just that's a sign from the higher power to tell me to take a different direction, not to give up. But when you get tired, get some rest, but just don't give up. That's what I was talking about.
That's awesome, Renetta. Can you tell our viewers how they can access your podcast if they wanted to?
You can access my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. It's on all, it's everywhere. So just search I Have a Voice and it will be heard, and my name, Renetta McLeod, will pop up.
Awesome. So thanks for sharing with us how you are using social media for the good to combat some of the negative behaviors that young people are doing because of the risky stuff that they are seeing on social media. So another question for you. When you think about maybe some of the programs that you've been in, or you think about some of the adults that have came along, do you think that they have been well equipped to talk to you or young folks about issues of substance abuse or drinking?
Honestly, no. I feel like a lot of older people is not too much concerned with younger people drinking and smoking because they see it so much. I think it became a part of like society. Nobody really pointed out because it's kind of normalized now. So no, but that would be great if we had more adults letting people know like it's not cool and we can help you with that if it's a problem.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that there should be constant mentors, right, who are pouring into young people, being able to see those risky behaviors and to help the young person to identify with them, right?
We actually need more older people to take time in the youth because I feel like that is a big problem.
Yeah,
Youth are looked over.
Yes, they are.
And
I
they feel
agree.
it, so they don't know who to turn to.
Yeah.
Or what to turn to.
Say that again. And that's why I am so proud of the work that Grand Boulevard Coalition is doing with their entire mission to reduce underage drinking and substance abuse for teens and over time adults. They've really taken some time to think about those risk factors that young people are dealing with and to implement programs and mentorships to provide more adults who can be that helping hand. And I think that's what I'm hearing you say on today.
Yes.
That's awesome. So there was a survey that is conducted every now and then, the Illinois Youth Data Survey. And the survey actually reveals that most youth don't use. I found that surprising, if I can be honest with you. In the neighborhoods we grow in, we see young people using substance, right? We see young people drinking. Do you think this survey is true from your experience? And if so, why?
Well, honestly, I don't think it's true because I see more kids doing drugs than kids that don't do drugs. But I don't know where they surveyed those kids at. Maybe in neighborhoods where they don't condone in it or whatever. Or maybe nobody was being completely honest. But I think more kids use than more kids don't use.
Interesting take on it. And viewers, we want to remind you that you can call in and you can be a part of this conversation at 312-738-1060. Give us a call. Share in your comments. Give us feedback. We want to hear what you have to say. Bring in your questions. It is because of your views and our sponsors and our partners that we host this show to really be able to push the mission and to be able to have the tough dialogues. So yeah, I really did find that survey to be very interesting. At what age do you think youth are really being exposed to drugs and alcohol?
I would say 14, 15, like the beginning of their high school years because peer pressure again. That's the ages that everybody think is cool. Like those are the ages that you're going into your teenage years, so you feel like you grown, maybe do what grown people do, but that's where it starts. I feel like it starts as soon as you get in high school.
So if you could serve as a mentor to someone fresh in high school, a freshman, what advice would you give them? What direction would you give them to shed them away from the peer pressures of drugs and alcohol?
I think the best advice I can give to any young child, and I give it to my sister all the time, I always tell her just because what you see in the next person doing doesn't mean it's right. Always have your own mind and go with what you feel.
That's wonderful.
Make sure you do what's right we have a caller.
We do have a caller on the line. Caller, what's your question?
Ella, my question is for the guest.
Okay.
What would you suggest we do to have children to decrease the use of drugs and alcohol in the youth?
Thank you, caller.
That's a good question. Well, older people can start by taking more time out with the kids. Like, taking more time out with the kids as in, like, making the kid feel like you're really there for them, like really reaching out to the kids, letting them know that you have someone that's available who can help. Like, you don't have to turn to this stuff. Like, if you need me, call me. Like, give the kids, like, let them know that they have somebody.
And I love how you said that. Let them know that they have someone. And that sounds very much like mentorship is sort of what you're pushing, if I can, am I right
Yes,
on that?
yes.
Yeah, almost as saying that everyone needs someone to walk with them. Preferably someone a little older who has some life experience. And it sounds like that's what you're saying we need more of in our community.
Yes, we definitely need more mentors. Some of these kids do these things because they don't have no guidance. They don't feel love. Maybe if we took more time out with the kids and let them know that you do have someone by your side, you can depend on me. I am here for you. Maybe they won't be into those type of things and try to follow up behind the next person who doing the negative things.
Yeah, thank you for that. And thank you, caller, for that question. Please continue to keep your calls coming in at 312-738-1060. This is a community conversation that we're having, and we need your voice to be a part of it. So thank you. So, Renetta, before that call came in, we were talking about you being a mentor to like a freshman and the advice that you would give them or activities that you would do with them. Can we continue that conversation?
Yes, for sure.
So what activities or what would you want someone entering high school to know about peer pressure? What would you want them to know?
Well, I would want them to know that it's real, and I would want them to know that, like, you don't have to engage in these type of things to be cool. You are cool. You are enough. Don't do that.
That's awesome.
Because, I mean, it might look good, but in the end, your health, you have to think about yourself. You have to love yourself. And once you start loving yourself, then you'll realize everything I'm saying will start to add up like, it's right.
Awesome.
It all starts with loving yourself.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm pretty sure that if you were mentoring a freshman, they would really take that advice. I could feel my 14-year-old self saying, yes, someone is reminding me to love myself on those days where I don't really feel as pretty or I feel like giving into the pressure. Someone is reminding me, right? Somebody is my mentor and they're walking hand in hand with me. I love that.
And then once someone reminds you so much, it'll stick. Like, you'll just know, like, yes, I do love myself. I can be great.
Awesome. Is there any advice that someone gave you that really stuck out to you? What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received? Tough question.
When I first started going to GED classes, I had an instructor. Her name was Mrs. Pleasure. And on the first day of class, she said this one statement, and it's still sticking. I hold on to it. She said, discipline, dedication, and determination will get you to where you're going. So if you're going through hard times, just stay disciplined, just be determined, and just be dedicated, and you'll get there.
Wow, and you really hung on to those words.
Every day.
Wow, and I'm assuming that really helped you to get through your GED course.
It really did. Days I felt like giving up, I just thought of those 3 words, and I literally just got up like...
Wow, and look at you now, a student at Kennedy King, taking communication courses. You are doing it, and I think that that's incredible. You've already started a podcast called I Have a Voice and It Will Be Heard. Thank you for sharing that piece of advice.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Now, if you can give any advice to any person, what would that advice be?
If I can give any advice, like I said, be your own person. Just because you see the next person doing something doesn't mean it's right. Always have your own mind and always keep God first.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So yes, if you have calls, continue to call in, share into this conversation with us. Once again, we can be reached at 312-738-1060. We also want to continue to encourage you to follow us on Instagram at Grand Boulevard Coalition. You can also like our page, view our website, see how you can get more involved. It seems like the theme of today's show was all about motivating, right? Being able to motivate young people to know their worth, their value, their true self, so that they don't have to give in to the peer pressures, right?
Yes.
Of risky behavior such as alcohol or substance use. Right? And I
Yes.
thank you for providing the motivation that you did.
I
on
thank
today.
you for giving me this opportunity for my voice to be heard.
Yeah, no problem. To our viewers, to our partners, we want to remind you of a few things. An online survey was sent out to our sector partners and volunteers. It was emailed from Laurel Dudley. You should take a look at that. Fill that survey out. It is a great way for us to get more of your feedback, to see how we can better engage with our partners and our volunteers. There will also be a conference call on November 21st, 2019 at 5:15. Reach out to Laurel Dudley to learn more about that call and how you can share in and tune into that call. So our theme on today, on this 6th annual media broadcast, was all about being able to reduce underage drinking and substance abuse for teens and overtime adults. This is the very reason we host this show. And with our partners and with our sponsors and with our guests, like Renata, we're able to have those tough conversations to really get the views out there, to really get the opinions of all folks. And Renata, we are so thankful that you are able to come on today and to share your feedback with us. We are grateful of your experience, where you've been, and where you're trying to be. Where is it that you want to be when you think about 5 years from now or even sooner? What's your goal with this motivational speaking?
Well, I want to be one of the biggest, youngest motivational speakers. I want to get through to as many people as I possibly can. My goal is to reach out to inspire, motivate, and speak life into others. I want to be there for people who actually need like someone or a voice.
Awesome, awesome. And what agenda are you pushing? What do you want them to know as you are reaching out, as you are speaking your voice? What's the message that you're carrying with you?
The message that I am carrying is you can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Like, you have to believe yourself and love in yourself. You can do anything. Anything is possible. Can no one hold you back but you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Renata, for
Thank
this
you.
conversation with
Thank
us.
you.
To our viewers, we thank you for engaging with us. And until next time, take care.